Welcome back, students of the dojo. This week, we're continuing our look at Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, the newest addition to 5e Dungeons & Dragons.
And this go-around, we're looking at the Cleric, the new features and subclasses.
Support the Dungeon Masters Dojo by heading over to Apple Podcasts and Podchaser and leave a review. Take the time to leave a comment as well. This helps make us more searchable to those listeners interested in content such as ours. But more importantly, we want to know how we are doing and what topics you would like to hear about.
Another way you can support the DMD is by buying the DMD a beer, so we can continue to deliver quality content to you, our listeners. This also helps us upgrade and replace equipment. Head over to buymeacoffee.com/thedmd and buy us a beer, or 3, or 5. Don't forget to say something nice or mean. We don't care. You're buying us a beer. Now on to this week's episode.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dungeon Masters Dojo podcast. This is a show for game masters and players alike. We hope to bring you tips and tricks to elevate your game and develop the art of dungeon mastery. I'm your host, Louis Aponte, and these are your dungeon masters, Scott Labby and Bill Robotile. Let's enter the dojo and see what they have in store for us today.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Bill. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
I cut my finger at work. Is there a cleric in the house?
Yes, we have a couple of clerics in the house.
3, as a matter of fact.
Well, let's talk about them.
Yeah, well, let's get into it. So our cleric has some optional class features, as everybody else does, and along with that comes some additional cleric spells. So at 3rd level, you get Aura of Vitality and Spirit Shroud. Moving on to 4th level is Aura of Life and Aura of Purity. At 5th level, Summon Celestial. At 6th level, you get Sunbeam. My grandma had a Sunbeam like blender, so I wonder.
My grandmother has a Sunbeam toaster.
Yeah, so I wonder if that conjures up, I don't know, like kitchen utilities or something. At 8th level, you get Sunburst, and then at 9th level, Power Word Heal. Power Word Heal is one of my favorites.
Yeah, well, anything that has heal at the end of it is good when you're dealing with a cleric, and you throw a power word in there as well. Yeah, I could see that being real fun. 2nd level, Harness Divine Power. You can expend a use of your Channel Divinity to fill your spells. As a bonus action, you touch your holy symbol, utter a prayer, and regain 1 expended spell slot, level of which can be no higher than half your proficiency bonus, rounded up. The number of times you can use this feature is based on the level you've reached. In this class, 2nd level once, 6th level twice, 18th level thrice. You regain all your expended uses when you finish a long rest.
That's pretty clutch.
That is
Yeah,
pretty sick. I like that with all of these, with these optional class features and with these additional divine domains that you can kind of customize a little bit. You know,
you can customize a lot.
They're not all like a cookie cutter kind of cleric thing. So that is pretty cool.
Well, you used to have to try really hard to distinguish your cleric from any other, and it was difficult. But now you know this is one of the few classes I think did a lot more justice with the subclasses than several of the other classes.
Yeah, they did a nice job with the clerics, and you're absolutely right. I think you really had to put a lot of thought and effort into kind of making your cleric stand out.
And most of it became just role-playing.
Yeah.
Because when it came right down to the actual spells and stuff like that, it was all, pretty much the same. And it kind of still is. But now you have a lot more versatility here.
Yeah, it's like in Aliens, too. Remember in Aliens, or it was Aliens was the second Alien movie. It was Bill Paxton and who's the other guy? He was Kyle Reese and Michael Biehn, right? I'm Hudson, he's Hicks. It was kind of like that thing, It's like your clerics are always getting mixed up. Brother Samuel. No. I'm Friar Smythe. That's Brother Samuel. He's got the blue helmet on. Not anymore, though.
Cantrip versatility. This is at 4th level. Whenever you reach a level in this class that grants the ability score improvement feature, you can replace one cantrip you learn from this class's spellcasting feature with another cantrip from the cleric spell list, which is nice because as you go up in spells, where you're going with your character often changes from where you started at 0 or 1st level and you work your way up. Now as these features start coming out, it's like, well, you're in your head as a player, I want to go a different direction, or my direction is going to skew a little bit more this way. And here's 2 cantrips I haven't used ever, and now I want these. Now's a good chance to change it up.
And even if you have a roster of cantrips that you cycle through and you use an awful lot, if your characters had some profound changes, or experiences that would initiate change,
right?
It makes a lot of sense.
The party leader dies in your lap, and you couldn't save them.
Because you didn't have that flame strike or something.
Yeah, because you didn't have that one spell or that one cantrip or that one something. You just couldn't do it. And that's it. This will never happen again. This will never happen again. So 8th level, Blessed Strikes. This is a cleric feature which replaces Divine Strike or potent spellcasting feature. You are blessed with a divine might in battle. When a creature takes damage from one of your cantrips or weapon attacks, you can also deal 1d8 radiant damage to that creature. Once you deal this damage, you can't use this feature until the start of your next turn.
Every turn.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a melee weapon. It could be a ranged weapon.
Yep.
So, there's all kind of different weapons you can think about using, and that's an additional D8 on top of it.
Definitely, it just says, or weapon attacks.
And that's nice. That extra D8
every turn
certainly comes in handy.
Here comes another throwing axe, and it's glowing again. Ah, crap! That hurt.
Let's look at some divine domains. I'm really pumped about these divine domains.
I like these.
Yeah, we move into the order domain, right? So this, we talked off the mic about this, so we're all kind of in agreement. And I don't know if any of you out there have noticed this. Any of the grognards, anyway. The order domain represents discipline as well as devotional laws that govern a society, an institution, or a philosophy. Clerics of order meditate on logic and justice as they serve their gods, examples of which appear in the order deities table, which we have over there. So these are the clerics that believe that well-crafted laws establish legitimate hierarchies, and who can argue with that? And those selected by law to lead must be obeyed. Those who obey must do their best of their ability, and if those who lead fail to protect the law, they must be replaced. In the manner of law, it weaves a web of obligations that creates order and security in a chaotic multiverse. It reminds me of a 1st edition Paladin. Without that, if you mess up, we're going to take your powers stuff.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. This is a religious military.
Yeah,
it smacks very much of religious military,
which is what the Paladins were.
Yep. Exactly,
they were the military arm of whatever religion,
whatever church, or whatever.
It's cool. It's like it's a class made to be like kind of like a badass zealot.
I was going to bring up a point, but I'm going to wait till we get done reading a couple of these other proficiencies and things like that before I make this analogy and tell me what you guys think. But we'll get there.
Let's talk about spells, Bill.
Let's talk about spells. All right. At 1st level, you get command and heroism. 3rd, whole person and zone of truth. 5th, mass healing word and slow. 7th, compulsion and locate creature. 9th, commune, dominate person. Nice little rack there.
That is. And
that's a nice little rack.
And I can see this. I just can see this cleric out on a battlefield, with the warcaster feat. And kind of like a sword and board kind of build, maybe with shield master. I could see this as being one badass cleric.
There's the cleric at the front end, going, oh, the hell with standing behind and just going heal, heal, heal. Pick up your swords and follow me. I'm going to show you how it's done.
Leading the fighters,
yes,
into the fray. So you get some bonus proficiencies. You gain proficiency with heavy armor. You also gain proficiency in the intimidation or persuasion skill. And I think intimidation works particularly well for this.
Yes. Well, it depends on what bent you're going to go off of. The persuasion, if it's one of those firm but fair kind of stare you down grandfather kind of looks.
Yeah, I got a lot of that growing up.
Yeah. The intimidations, like, all right, yeah, wait till your father gets home.
How about Sheriff Dragonborn over here? So I don't know if I want to be in a Western or if I want to be in a fantasy. So you know what? I don't have to choose. I'm going to be it's going to be a fantasy Western. And you know what? You could do that too. But I like his handcuffs.
The hell with wearing a pointed star. I'm going to beat you with it with my shield.
Yeah. And that's a
mace.
That's a mace.
That's a blade mace.
Well, that looks like that'll hurt.
Yeah, a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot. I like those.
And keeping with the disappointed grandfather theme, we have the voice of authority.
Yes, at first level. Perfect.
Take it away, Bill.
You can invoke the power of law to embolden an ally to attack. If you cast a spell with a spell slot of first level or higher and target an ally with the spell, that ally can use their reaction immediately after the spell to make one weapon attack against a creature of your choice that you can see. If the spell targets more than one ally, you choose the ally who can make the attack.
That's pretty clutch right there too, to get that extra attack in.
That is, I wonder how this this order cleric, how well they would do in a party with like a bard of eloquence. You know, talk about like really being able to work a crowd up into a frenzy, right? I mean, these are the guys you want like giving you the rah-rah speech before you go into battle against an insurmountable force. You know?
I know there's only 300 of us and there's 30,000 of them, but we can do it.
And look at our abs. The finest airbrushed abs money can buy.
They used a template, too, because everyone looked exactly the same.
But it was a good movie.
Yeah, I mean, I do that every year I go to the beach.
Airbrush the abs
Airbrush the abs on. I got the template. I just can't move too fast. Right? Because things will start to move.
Or go near water.
Yeah.
Why is his abs overlapping? Yeah. Okay, why don't you do the second level?
You get Channel Divinity, Orders Demand at second level. You can use your Channel Divinity to exert an intimidating presence over others. As an action, you present your holy symbol, and each creature of your choice that can see or hear you within 30 feet of you must succeed on a wisdom saving throw or be charmed by you until the end of your next turn, or until the charmed creature takes any damage. You can also cause any of the charmed creatures to drop what they are holding when they fail the saving throw.
That's clutch, very clutch.
There's crowd control.
Yeah,
super. Yeah,
I want to play one. I'll never get the opportunity, but I want to play one.
Wow. Okay, sixth level, Embodiment of the Law. You have become remarkably adept at channeling magical energy to compel others. If you cast a spell of enchantment school using a spell slot of first level or higher, you can change the spell's casting time to one bonus action for this casting, provided the spell's casting time is normally one action. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier, a minimum of once, and you regain all spells used when you finish a long rest.
I read this a couple times because the wording kind of threw me off.
Yeah.
So am I to assume that when you cast this spell, you're casting it as a bonus action and not taking them? Now, that's not bad.
That is not bad
That is not bad at all. This is a pretty sound subclass.
Well, this is your, like the picture states, this is your sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, this is the guy who's going to present the law. You know, you're going to listen to him or you're going to get that beat down.
I definitely see that. I would go in a little different direction than, fantasy Western sheriff, but we'll talk about that later because Bill has something
We're waiting for that
to
one.
say. Yeah.
Why don't you go on with the next one?
Divine Strike. You gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 psychic damage to the target. When you reach 14th level, the extra damage increases to 2d8. Not bad at all.
And again, it's not just considered melee; it's any weapon.
Yeah, I mean,
So when you slap and go, hurts, doesn't it?
I can almost see, the kind of like He-Man-esque type of thing where the Order Cleric thrusts his sword into the air while he's rallying like his troops or whatever, and a beam of holy energy comes down from the sky, infusing the sword, and it glows until he whacks someone with it. And then, all of that divine energy or whatever have you is transferred to the person who glows a little bit as she takes the psychic damage. I just think the cinematics on something like this could be like off the charts. It could be so epic.
Then you're going to like the last one. 17th level. Enemies you designate for destruction wilt under the combined efforts of you and your allies. If you deal your divine strike damage to a creature on your turn, you can curse that creature until the start of the next turn. The next time one of your allies hits the cursed creature with an attack, the target also takes 2d8 psychic damage, and the curse ends. You can curse the creature in this way only once per turn.
Only once per turn.
Yeah.
But every turn.
Yeah, but every turn. That Order's Wrath, that's a nice capstone ability, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So tell me, what do you think Mullif would have done with this class?
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I was like, well,
because half of this he already did just through
yeah,
role playing.
through role playing, and now it's like you have this. Mullif was Bill's character for the first 7-year campaign that we played on our week-long getaway, and that was pretty much this Order domain, but without it because it was like 2nd edition, and that was a really good example of having to role play yourself out of that Cleric cookie cutter.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a little stone gnome. Well, in our world, a stone gnome, but he's a gnome, and everyone was scared of him.
It was our moral compass.
He was your moral compass, and even when he wasn't there, the first thing they said when they were doing something wrong, not if, when they were doing something wrong, was no one tell Mullif.
Or what would Mullif say?
What would Mullif say? What would Mullif do? He was their moral compass, but
he was our grandfather.
But he
with
was that
belt.
He was that but he was that firm but fair, persona. And when I first read this,
Killjoy.
Yes, he was. But when I read this, I went, "Oh my God, they copied Mullif." So I really do dig that, and now I want to rewrite Mullif.
Yeah, absolutely. And Tasha's has been very inspiring to me to like rewrite a lot of these characters from that first 7-year campaign. I see this order domain Cleric fitting in wonderfully with a group of just like paladins and other like lawful good kind of guy. Like if you were going to send someone out to hunt demons or something,
oh yeah,
or undead, or and it was like the quintessential good guys.
Yeah. Built one of the new paladin orders along with this dude.
Yep.
Just those two standing side by side by themselves would be an insanely intimidating presence.
With him just rallying everybody behind him.
Right.
Yep. Like you could put together a really sound party with this as one of your components. And now there's the peace domain. Now this guy, he's barefoot, which is bad on a battlefield, right?
You would think.
And shirtless,
which is again bad on a battlefield
unless you happen to be a barbarian. He needs to do some push-ups.
Yeah, no abs there.
But he looks really chill.
He looks high.
This is the peace domain is the Tommy Chong Cleric. I dig him though.
I dig this class. I think this is probably my favorite one out of the 3.
I like the peace domain. I actually like the peace domain a lot, and I was giving some thought to building a peace domain character, and just thought it would be huge fun. I'd want to take like a couple level dip in monk and be like Kwai Chang Caine a little bit. Kwai Chang Caine be chilling out in the Wild West.
Yep.
And some jerk would mess with him, because he's like he's Chinese, even though David Carradine was
not
like
Chinese.
he was like I don't know, French or something, like anything but Chinese. But that was the theme. They'd mess with him, and you'd be like, I don't want any problems. You'd always be barefoot.
Yep.
Kind
Playing
of
his
hippy
flute
dippy.
over by the fire.
Playing his flute. And some cowboy would mess with him, and you'd have to whoop his ass. So I'd want my peace domain cleric. If he's going to run around barefoot, he's going to know a little karate, right? Because that's the guy that gets picked on, in the tavern when he's chilling out, with no shoes on. He's all kind of skinny and not wearing a shirt. Got no armor.
With a cape.
Yeah, with a cape. No weapons or anything like that. And it's nice to get that little armor class thing that the monks got.
Well, yeah, that's always nice too, yeah.
But so let's get on with this guy. I like this one a lot. The balm of peace thrives at the heart of healthy communities between friendly nations and in the souls of the kind-hearted. I feel like giving someone a hug now. The gods of peace inspire people of all sorts to resolve conflict and to stand up against those forces that try to prevent peace from flourishing. Clerics of the peace domain preside over the signing of treaties, and they are often asked to arbitrate in disputes. These clerics' blessings draw people together and help them shoulder one another's burdens, and the cleric's magic aids those who are driven to fight for the way of peace. I would go half-elf with this. If I was going to make a peace domain cleric, I would go half-elf.
Yeah.
And go heavy on like the diplomacy thing. Be like a traveling diplomat.
Oh, yeah, throw that charisma stat right through the roof.
Yeah. Really just dump some points in charisma, certainly wisdom.
Yeah.
And get maybe some extra languages, pick a background or whatever have you, where you could grab some extra languages and just build it based on that. Like Captain Picard is a cleric.
Without the ears.
I mean, I'll whoop a little ass if need be, but I'm always trying to, stay out of that. But if I gotta plant my bare foot upside someone's head, Billy Jack style, I took a 3-level dip in monks, so I'm ready to do that.
But you're not. Well, you can go the Bruce Lee, the way of the interposing fist.
Yeah.
No, I'm punching you out of peace.
Yes. Tried everything. So you get some spells here, right? With everything, heroism.
Yep.
Sanctuary, aid, warding, bond, beacon of hope, sending, aura of purity, Adaluk's resilient sphere, and greater restoration and Rary's telepathic bond. Really good thematic spells for this domain of clerics, I think. I always wonder if I'm pronouncing Adaluk. Is it Odaluk?
I think it's Adalux or Adaluk.
Adaluk. I think so too. I always think I'm pronouncing everything wrong, so that's probably because I drink more than I should.
Oh yeah, I mean that's definitely drink more than anybody should.
As if that hasn't already been established. First level, Implement of Peace. You gain a proficiency in the insight, performance, or persuasion skill, your choice. Good way to go to start off right in the beginning. Performance, so actually, I can see performance working really, really well.
Yeah, I was questioning.
A lot of people don't take performance, but if you're going to be that spokesperson that's going to mediate, and you need to be able to play the crowd, play the individuals.
Yeah, that makes
as
a lot
well.
of sense.
And where insight, I mean, obviously insight, you want to be able to tell if someone's lying and whatnot. But I see performance being much, in this particular case, performance being much more utilized than persuasion.
Got to keep that.
You don't want to talk
attention.
them. You don't want to talk them into things that they don't want to do. You want to convince them that's what they want to do, and make them think that's what they want to do. So, in performance will do that.
I like it.
Emboldening. Am I saying that right? Emboldening body or bond.
Emboldening bond.
Emboldening bond.
Emboldening.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought there was another syllabic in there, syllable in there. First level, you can forge an empowering bond among people who are at peace with one another. As an action, you choose a number of willing creatures within 30 feet of you. This can include yourself, equal to your proficiency bonus. You can create a magical bond among them for 10 minutes or until you use this feature again. While any bonded creature within 30 feet of another, the creature can roll d4 and add the number rolled to the attack roll, an ability check, or saving throw it makes. Each creature can add the d4 no more than once per turn. You can use this feature the number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest.
I laughed when I read this, and I'm going to tell you why.
I did too.
Because I'm like, this would be great. I could get our party to. I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah.
Well, for me,
a number of willing creatures within 30 feet of you that are at peace with one another.
Number one,
lose mostly at my table.
They're not going to be willing. They're not going to be at peace with one another.
Right.
And they'll use the +4 to saving throw to throw off this spell.
For me, I do like this class. This is one of the abilities that bothered me. It's a cheaper version of the Bardic Inspiration.
Yeah,
it is. Yeah, it's like the GoBots version.
Yes.
Yeah, there were GoBots
instead of the actual Transformers.
And GoBots were like, kind of lame, but if your parents didn't have a lot of money like mine, you got the GoBots.
I got a set of coffee cans that fit inside of each other. Take the next one.
Channel Divinity, Balm of Peace. So you can use your Channel Divinity to make your very presence a soothing balm. As an action, you can move up to your speed without provoking opportunity attacks. That's nice.
Yep.
And when you move within 5 feet of any creature during this action, you can restore a number of hit points to that creature equal to 2d6 plus your Wisdom modifier, minimum of 1 hit point. A creature can receive this healing only once whenever that you take this action.
Just the moving part without provoking an attack of opportunity is huge. Especially if you're on a battlefield.
Yeah, well, you step into combat, reach over and just kind of touch the person's, say, you'll be all right, you'll be all right. And, 2d8 plus your modifier, and then you can step back out.
2d6.
2d6, okay. I told you I got to clean my glasses.
Yeah, put them back on.
So, it's like you said, especially in combat, this is very, very handy. Protective Bond at 6th level. The bond you forge between people helps them protect each other. When a creature affected by your emboldening bond feature is about to take damage, a second bonded creature within 30 feet of the first can use its reaction to teleport to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the first creature. The second creature then takes all the damage instead.
This would be like for when your barbarian is coming
to save
coming to save the little gnome.
Yep.
Not my little gnome. It's the other way around.
It's my gnome.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that is nice. At 8th level, you get potent spell casting. You add your Wisdom modifier to the damage you deal with any Cleric cantrip. That's not bad. By 8th level, your Wisdom should be up there.
Yeah,
it should be pretty good.
Well, you got your second stat bump by that point.
Second ASI.
So that's probably going to be a 20 or pretty damn close.
Yep. Yeah, if you're doing, if you're doing that that stat array that they have in like D&D Beyond, hopefully you're putting your higher stat and Wisdom if you're going to be a Cleric.
Mm-hmm. Expansive Bond at 17th. The benefits of your emboldening bond and protective bond features now work when the creatures are within 60 feet of each other. Moreover, when a creature uses protective bond to take someone else's damage, the creature has resistance to that damage. Wow.
Yeah, that's a nice capstone feature, too.
Go ahead and hit me. Oh, it didn't really hurt after all.
Well, not only that, on top of all of these, once you have emboldening bond, because you got to remember, there's no concentration for this.
Yeah.
Also do Bless on top of it. Even though Bless has a concentration feature, that's an extra. Was that a D6?
I think it's D6
for that you can use for your saves and whatever other benefits it gives you.
Add that to the D4.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nice. Stacks nicely, nice and neat. It's nice domain. I kind of scoffed at it. I was like looking at the picture.
I was about to say the same thing. I was like, oh, geez, you got a hippie class, really?
Yeah. Well, like I said, the only part that bothered me was the watered down Bardic Inspiration. Yeah. But when you think about it and you're adding Bless on top of that, that can actually be pretty decent. But I think they could have did something a little different. What? I'm not sure, but that watered down Bardic Inspiration is what bothers me.
It's good. I definitely think it has its place.
It does.
I think it depends on the campaign setting and the scenario you're running.
I think it also depends on the person playing this class.
This is true.
Yeah.
That's
if you have someone that really gets behind it, that could be a really fun class to play.
Or a very boring class.
Well, I say it depends on who plays it.
Yeah, exactly.
And what kind of campaign. You're absolutely right about that. That's something that, again, go back to a session 0. That's really important because then you know whether or not it's a class that's going to work for that. Because if it's not, if you're doing a knockdown, drag out kind of slobber knocker, blood and gore sort of campaign, then the peace domain may not.
Yeah, there's nothing peaceful about that.
Yeah, may not work. But if you're doing something maybe with some courtly intrigue or even a dungeon crawl, wouldn't be bad or.
Yeah, well, there's going to be combat. So even if but small scale, it's the large scale stuff that this particular subclass is not going to work very well in. But there's always going to be a skirmish. What's the sense of having this extra healing if you're not going to actually heal? You're a cleric.
Yeah.
You're there to heal the combatants. So there's going to be combat.
I really think that it would be awesome to play the order domain and the peace domain as twins.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
That's a very good idea.
And two kind of very opposed philosophies on things, and they were twin brothers or a brother and sister or twin sisters or whatever have you, but they're kind of like the yin and yang. One's ready to get in there and bust some heads, and the other one's let's talk about this first before we do that. Perhaps we can arrive at a mutual.
Must you always hit something first and ask questions later?
Yeah, I think that could be really fun.
It would be hugely fun
in the hands of two players that can work off of each other well enough.
That would be really fun. All right, Twilight domain.
I like this one too.
The twilight transition from light into darkness often brings calm and even joy as the day's labors end and the hours of rest begin. The darkness can also bring terrors, but the gods of twilight guard against the horrors of the night. Clerics who serve these deities bring comfort to those who seek rest and protect them by venturing into the encroaching darkness to ensure that the dark is a comfort, not a terror.
There's so much cool shit you can do with this class. I mean, as far as it reminds me a little bit thematically, not in powers or abilities, but it reminds me. Did you ever read the Cloak and Dagger comic book?
Yes, a long time ago. Yep,
like the Cloak.
Yep.
Yeah.
They had a TV series on them too. They
did. Yeah.
It's on it's on Hulu, or last it was.
Is it still going?
It's not. I think they're going to bring it back because I think they said Hulu's going to be playing the darker side of the Marvel sort of miniseries movies. So,
well, that'd be cool.
It would be. It was actually a pretty good series, but yes, this would be Cloak.
Yeah, it kind of smacks at that. So you get some domain spells again. So you get Fairy Fire and Sleep, Moonbeam, and Sea Invisibility, Aura of Vitality, Leomin's Tiny Hut, Aura of Life, Greater Invisibility, Circle of Power, and Mislead. I think you could do a wonderful campaign, kind of like, do you remember, there's only going to be a handful of people that remember this. Do you remember Kolchak the Night Stalker with Darren McGavin? Was it Darren McGavin?
It was Darren McGavin, yeah.
And he was a germ. Only people like 50 and over are going to know this.
Everyone else is going to be Googling like crazy.
Yeah, he was a reporter, and he'd investigate all these bizarre circuits. He's like the Night Stalker was like the X-Files dad.
Yeah,
kind of. He investigated werewolves and vampires and stuff like that.
More granddad, but
more granddad. But I think this Twilight domain kind of falls into that sort of theme.
Very much.
I got some ideas for this.
Of course you do.
You get some bonus proficiencies. You get proficiency with martial weapons and heavy armor, which is pretty cool. I like this next one, but I'm going to let you do it, Bill.
Eyes of Night. You can see through the deepest gloom. You have dark vision out to a range of 300 feet. In that radius, you can see dim light as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it was dim light. As an action, you can magically share the dark vision of this feature with a willing creature you can see within 10 feet of you, up to the number of creatures equal to your wisdom modifier, minimum 1. The shared darkness lasts for 1 hour. Once you share it, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you expend a spell slot of any level to share it again.
I just see that kind of ability going on. I'm turning on my dark vision ability, and the eyes just starting to glow like a pale white or pale yellow. Like cinematically, it'd be awesome because you got your team of like Night Stalkers, and they're out there, and whoever it is, whatever characters, the Twilight Domain Cleric shares this ability with them. So all these like pale yellow eyes start popping up in the darkness, and they walk out the alley and they're ready to get down to business and do whatever it is they need to do to keep whatever city it is safe.
I'm quickly seeing this particular domain under hire by the Rogues Guild.
Yeah, I could see that.
I could see it's very much so being hired by the Rogues Guild. Hey, Rogues got work to do, and they get hurt too.
Yep.
Depending on the alignment of your particular cleric, this might be something to look at when you're dealing with people who do business in the darkness of night.
I would pair this up maybe with a Horizon Walker Ranger.
There you go.
Gloomstalker would
Gloomstalker,
do that.
yeah, Gloomstalker definitely, and maybe a Paladin of some type. Like, I don't want to go as far as say Oathbreaker because I think that wouldn't necessarily fit too well. But no. I could see this being part of a team that works in a city that has a supernatural problem, and gets hired to kind of work the midnight to 8 shift. Taking out the shadows and the ghouls.
I was about to say,
whatnot.
reference our Halloween episode on shadows. Yep. This is how you keep your entire town from going south.
I think that would be really fun for like a Halloween themed adventure, run through October or whatever have you. Just like the Night Watch type thing.
I know we haven't talked about it yet, but I think this would also sit well with the Phantom Rogue.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
we'll talk about him.
Yeah, this is
episodes later, but he would. I think this class would fit well with that.
Well, I got another campaign cooking up now. We're gonna have to do a live play.
Oh, geez. Keeping to the first level theme, Vigilant Blessing. The knight has taught you to be vigilant. As an action, you give one creature you touch, including possibly yourself, advantage on the next initiative roll the creature makes. This benefit ends immediately after the roll or if you use this feature again. So an advantage on initiative could be very, very helpful, especially when things are jumping out at you and surprising you in the dark.
Yeah, especially if you're hunting like supernatural beings.
And there's no prereqs to where you need to take a long rest to use again. So next time you got to roll advantage if it's in the same day, you get to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Second level?
Second level is your Twilight Sanctuary. That's your channeled divinity. You can use your channeled divinity to refresh your allies with Soothing Twilight. As an action, you present your holy symbol and a sphere of twilight emanates from you. The sphere is centered on you, has a 30-foot radius, and is filled with dim light. The sphere moves with you, and it lasts for 1 minute or until you are incapacitated or die. Whenever a creature, including you, ends its turn in the sphere, you can grant that creature one of these benefits. Temporary hit points equal to 1d6 plus your cleric level. That's nice.
Wow.
You end one effect on it, causing it to be charmed or frightened.
That's worded weird.
That is worded weird.
You end one effect on it. Is it supposed to be curing it? No, I don't know. Causing it to be charmed or frightened.
That one I had to read again and again and again. And to be honest with you, I still don't know what it is. If anybody has an interpretation on this, head over to our Facebook page. I'm dying to hear what you guys think.
Yeah, I'd like to know because the way I take it is if there's an enemy in the area, that it would be charmed or frightened. That's the only way that makes sense.
Yeah, you kind of run up with your glowing 3x3 personal space sphere around you, and you touch it with your Twilight. And
yeah, but you end one effect on it. Yeah, that's a little confusing.
We need to get Jeremy Crawford in here to...
Yes, Jeremy Crawford, if you're listening, with Robert Pattinson and Mark Hamill. You guys call us and let us know.
We'd like a slight interpretation of that, if you don't mind.
Yeah. I want Mark Hamill to deliver that in his Joker voice, though.
Okay, 6th level, Steps of Night. You can draw on the mystical powers of the night to rise into the air. As a bonus action, when you are in dim light or darkness, you can magically give yourself a flying speed equal to your walking speed for 1 minute. You can use this bonus action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus, and you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. Anytime something is floating in the dark with glowing eyes, and
You got to have billowy robes, like like the person in the picture here.
Yep.
I see this. I think you could have a blast with a Harry Dresden style of of campaign, with this class and a couple others that fit with it nicely. I think you can have an absolute blast. You can even, plug it into a modern setting and still have a super good time.
Oh, yeah, go X-Files with it.
Yeah. Divine Strike. At 8th level, you gain the ability to infuse your weapon strikes with divine energy. Once on each of your turns, when you hit a creature with a weapon attack, you can cause the attack to deal an extra 1d8 radiant damage. When you reach 14th level, the extra damage increases to 2d8.
Divine Strike's got to be just that, a Divine Strike.
Yeah.
17th level, Twilight Shroud. The Twilight that you summon offers a protective embrace. You and your allies have half cover while in the sphere created by your Twilight Sanctuary. Hide in the dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, there could be a lot of fun being had with the Night Watch.
Yeah. I think it would be a blast to play every year around late
Halloween.
September and throughout October. I think it'd be a really good time. What are your thoughts, Lou?
Start writing. You're running it.
Out of all the clerics, even out of the clerics, I think this is probably one of the weaker of the clerics. It's, all its abilities are really meh, if you want to say it. I mean, a lot of them you can't use unless it's, getting dark. So how often did our groups travel at night? Not too often.
I would have to build a campaign directly around that kind of theme.
This is a very niche class.
It is.
Or subclass, I should say.
It could be fun.
It could. I'm not taking that away from it, but I think it's probably one of the weaker clerics.
Yeah, I don't think it's interchangeable enough.
Like you said, I think it depends on your campaign, so you need to really discuss that at session 0, because I could see somebody having high expectations and then realizing
being let down.
And being let down and getting bored.
This would still work as a dungeon crawl.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that you have to bathe in moonlight or anything like that. It's basically dark.
Right.
And varying shades of dark.
Out of, let's say, the last 12 years that we gamed, how many of those were actually for long periods of dungeon crawls? Not too many of them.
No.
So it's a very niche subclass. I mean, it still could be enjoyable, but you have to make sure that campaign is the right campaign.
Right.
Overall, what do you think of these domains?
They're different. They add more versatility to the already large group of clerics that are out there. So I think that's a good add. They just all have their place.
Yeah, they do, and I think it adds a lot of flavor. But you're absolutely right about the place. I think you really have to have some discussions with your DM to see whether or not this fits.
And the DM should have those discussions with people if they're planning on playing this as well.
Yeah.
Right. This is the setting that we're going to be in. This is the campaign setting. This is we're not going to be spending a lot of time in the dungeons. We're not going to be spending a lot of time at night. You're the only one that's functioning at night, well, at least with this particular one.
Right.
But it might be also, you're very, like you mentioned earlier, with your, peace domain, it's a lot of courtly intrigue. Is your Cleric of Order going to fit well in that? So, I can see them niche, but I do like where they've gone with all of them. Yes. I think out of the subclasses, yes, they may be a little niche-y, but it gives you that place to go that didn't exist before.
And if somebody really wants to play something like this, I'm playing a darker side or the Twilight side, this gives them that chance.
Yes.
Along with some okay abilities.
And having that conversation with your players is so important in their satisfaction at the table. And if you have a player that really wants to play this, is like, DM, I really wanted to play this. It's okay for you to say, it doesn't fit in this campaign that I have set aside. But if you really want to play this, I'll build a small campaign for us to try around Halloween or whatever that this will fit in nicely, and you'll have your opportunity to play that, and kind of meet a middle of the road, because that's important too.
Or even if you're having a campaign, you can build a one shot into your campaign and just play test the character to see, or the class, to see how it works.
And if it does work, then you're writing your campaign.
Yep.
If you want to give everyone their shot, you want everyone to have a moment to shine. So every couple weeks, build something around this character and let it run for a week or two. And then the week after that, it'll be someone else. And the week after that, it'll be someone else.
It'll come back around eventually.
It will come back around. In the meantime, all right, you become a support character. It's still a cleric.
It is.
It's still a cleric. You still have all the cleric abilities. These are just a couple different ways to flavor it up. And I think that's going to work pretty well.
And that's our look at the cleric class and the 3 subclasses. See you next week in the dojo when we talk about the druid.
That's going to conclude this episode. Thanks for tuning in and listening. Please subscribe to the podcast for more great content. If you'd like to hear a particular topic, you can reach us on Facebook at the Dungeon Masters Dojo, or you can drop us an email at thedungeonmastersdojo@gmail.com. Thank you, and have a good day.